Welcome back to Scale Auto Guys Workbench and part 2 of this 57 Chevy Bel Air Hardtop from Atlantis. If you guys missed part 1, I'll leave a link to that video in the description box below. So let's get on with this and let's get it finished up. Alright fellas, I've got the front suspension prepped and I'm ready to go ahead and put this together. I've got all my parts touched up, well, sanded. I got all the marks or spots where it was attached to the sprue, I should say, sanded and ready to go. I just need to touch up the paint a little bit and we can go ahead and get this assembled. So let's go ahead and get started. Now remember, in the direction sheet, everything is upside down, so you have to kind of go from that perspective, and it kind of throws you off a little bit. But you know, this part here, the engine cross member, just goes in here. This piece here that has your lower control arms goes on like that, and everything gets sandwiched in between. So we're going to start with the engine cross member first. As you can see, I've already cleared the paint off of this. So just dab a little paint there. Glue there. I'm talking about paint, and a little bit there. Okay. So go ahead and clamp it in place. Get the clamps in the right spot. I want to get the clamp on the top of the cross member there and the frame. Okay, we'll let that set for a minute and we'll be back with the rest of it. Alright, we're back. I just took the clamps off. A little trick that I figured out I would do while we were waiting for that engine cross member to set up is I went ahead and installed the springs on this lower control arm piece, and I figured I'd get them in place and just set them in place and let the glue cure, and that way there I didn't have to fight with those while I'm trying to put the steering spindles in there. And so now they're in the correct angle and everything's good. I just have to go ahead and put the rest of this together. I'm going to go through and kind of touch up the paint after I get everything done. I could do it with the Sharpie. Well, yeah, might as well. Oops, sorry. Constantly bumping this camera, and it's on a mount that I don't like, but I haven't found one that I do yet. Every mount that I've tried so far has been, because I have to extend it out over the work area, it tends to be a little bit springy, and it doesn't take a whole lot of motion to get the thing to bouncing, unfortunately. Okay, I'm not going to touch this up because that's my glue surface. And you can see right where all of these parts were attached to the tree. And the black Sharpie works wonders for touching these areas up. Oh, I missed that side. Yeah, these had quite a bit of flash on them, so mostly around the ejector pin marks. And unfortunately, you don't notice those until you are beginning to assemble everything, and then it's like, where did this come from? Alright, there we go. Now these pins here, you put them on top of the steering knuckles. If you want to have it a lowered front end or a stock front end, you put these pins either on the top or the bottom of the spindles. There's one more thing that I did not grab off the tree that I just now noticed, and it's not on that one. Oh, where are you? That must be it right there. What's that one? Yeah, 138. The little caps that go on top of the pins for the steering. Oh, I don't like that. So you have posable steering. Now if you don't want posable steering, I guess you can just glue everything in place and forget the caps. I don't know yet if I want posable steering or not. A lot of times I just go with the posable steering. Why not? It's designed that way, so might as well. Boy, these got some flash on them. Holy smokes. And they're tiny. Earlier, when I was trying to cut some parts loose from the tree, I had a part take off on me, and I thought it was lost to the carpet gremlins, and found out it never left the desktop. It just skidded up underneath a bunch of other stuff that I had sitting up here. Oh, where did that other one go? There we are. So I was about ready to just go on and build it without that part. Oop, there's my puppy. Oh, I didn't tell you guys we got a new puppy. We were told when we got her that she was a blonde lab mix. Turns out, yeah, she's a blonde lab mix, all right. Not really. She is what you call a Basenji, which is, from all of our research, found out that she's an African hunting dog. And she'll get to be about 30 pounds. And that's about it. We were looking for something a little bit bigger than that, because our service dog, who's a chocolate lab, she's not real old yet, but she's getting there. She's 6.5, and we want to retire her in the next year or so. And we got this puppy thinking that she was going to be the replacement service dog for when we retire our other one. But she's going to be too small to perform the duties that the Chocolate Lab is now doing. So, you know, I don't mind buying things from people, but be honest about stuff. You don't have to lie just to get somebody's money. And I don't mind spending money if I'm getting what I'm, you know, what I'm trying to buy. As long as I'm getting my money's worth, I guess you could say. That kind of, I don't know, that kind of angered me a little bit, but she is an adorable little puppy. She has some odd traits that we're not really used to, but she's a pretty good dog overall. She does what they call yodeling, and that gets that it takes a little bit to get used to. It's a very high-pitched. Some folks would confuse it as a whine, but it's not really whining. It's kind of like a bark, but it's not a bark. It's kind of just a noise, and it's very high-pitched and very loud. It's kind of cute, but also kind of annoying. Okay, this one goes on this side. This one goes on this side. Alright, I gotta clean that up a little bit. It's got a little bit of flash on there. Okay, that looks good now. Okay. Towards the rear. No, I had that wrong. That one goes this way. That one goes this way. Nope. I had it right. No, can't be. According to the direction sheet. No, I got it right. What I did is mark the one, part number 45. I marked it with the Sharpie when I cut it off the tree, so I knew which one was part number 45. Part 45 does go like that. And this one goes like that. Now, if I want the stock ride height, they go together like that. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'll go with stock ride height. For the front end. Yeah, getting back to our Basenji, she, we've seen where her markings and coloring is called albino Basenji, because she's white and kind of gold color. She has very unique eyes. Come on now. And she smiles. And if you've ever seen a dog smile, you know it's kind of unique and rare and kind of cute. First time we noticed that she smiles was when she was barking and carrying on about something. And I walked over to her and I go, "What are you doing?" And she looked at me and she showed her front teeth to me. And at first I thought she was kind of like snarling at me. But we started noticing that she does it all the time. And so we did a little research. And found out that that's her smiling. So every time she gets into trouble, she kind of smiles at you to, like, it's like her saying, you can't be mad at me because I'm smiling at you. But she does have a bit of an attitude. I'll give her that. She's kind of like her old man. This hole, I've made it too big now. Come on, get up in there. Son of a... Okay. There we go. I'm sorry you can't see that. What the heck? There we go, finally. Well, that's going to be some tight steering. Let's glue that, put that back on there. Okay, the spindles are in place. And okay, now it's time for this part here. I'll put a little bit on the end of these springs. Ooh. I better round these holes out a little bit. Oops. Because I don't know if those spindles are going to have trouble fitting down over these. Alright, let's give that a try. If you don't drop it. Oh, come on. Be careful when you're doing this because they don't give you a whole lot of plastic on the outside there. So we're going to trim that in, trim it into the inside. Otherwise you'll eat right through the hole. And that's what I'm afraid of doing here. Try this again. That side's in. Sort of. you go. Come on in there. Yep, there we are. Just have to work it. Okay, they're both in. They're both posable. And now we have to clamp everything. Yeah, that's not going to work. I've got a feeling that I didn't get enough glue on this. Nope, I didn't. Okay, let me fix this and we'll be right back. Alright fellas, I got the suspension, tires, and everything done. This is just a mock-up of the seating and the firewall. I realize I have to repaint the inside of that. I don't know why I painted that yellow, but there it is. Now I did notice, I'm going to talk about this for a second. I did not go with the kit's wheel choices. I didn't really like them. What I did is I got these wheels out of the 1964 Impala kit, and I used those instead. Now I did want to use the 3-spoke spinners on these, but one of the 4 in the kit was short shot, so it only had two fins on the spinner, and I was like, well, that won't work. Well, they give these cones as an option, so I went with those instead. Now I got the engine in, I got the suspension and everything, drivetrain all done. I still have to do the exhaust pipes, but there it is. Now I did encounter a little bit of a problem, and I hope that doesn't build on and become a bigger problem later on when I go to put the body on. But the I'm not sure if it's, I kind of think it's the frame. Yeah, it's the frame. This side is a bit lower than this side, so that is going to be a problem. I had to kind of adjust the suspension in there because I did have quite a bit of wobble in there. So I'm going to have to straighten this up in some form or fashion so that when I go to put the body on, it's not going to be a problem. I'll address that in a little bit. Even if I just have to kind of warm this area of the frame and push it up or something, I don't know, or just maybe the end and push that up so it's equal here. Yeah. But I'm going with the gray seats. Now these will be like clear coated and stuff like that. I'm not done with them yet, but with the yellow body, I guess that kind of goes together. I did see one excuse me, one-to-one car in my Google search that was yellow with gray interior, and I thought it looked really kind of nice, so I went with this two-tone gray. I do have to add a second coat to the darker gray, and then I'm going to clear coat it to kind of protect it. That's the reason why I like the clear coat, because it does kind of protect this craft paint from peeling and being able to be scratched off and stuff. All right, let's get on to some other stuff, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, fellas, I skipped ahead a little bit, as I usually do. This back seat, it's a little fiddly to put together. The this piece that goes in the back, there's two little tabs and a bar basically down in this area that it sits against, and then the top goes in these between these two little pins at the top. Well, then the back of the seat hooks on. There's a little slot in this piece here that this hooks on, and then it glues onto the floor. These side panels here, there's little, they're little H-shaped little things on the floor. I can't give them a name anyway. There's notches in the bottom of the panels there, and you just line them up there. And then there's this little slot here, and then there's one on the inside. This goes between them on each side, and there you have the back seat. Now, I did glue in the firewall, and there's that. I'm getting ready to do the front seat, and as you can see, I've got the paint removed from these little risers here. But the direction sheet shows a gear shift that goes in here, plus the gas and brake pedals. So I'm going to put those in before I put in the seat. I have the door panels completed. Those were supposed to go into the body on the first step, but I didn't want to do that, as I explained, because I got to paint the body, and I didn't want to paint the door panels the same time I painted the body. So let's go ahead and get these gas and brake pedals and gear shift and everything installed. Then we'll go with the seat, and then yeah, we'll go on, get this thing put together. All right, fellas, I gotta tell you, the gear shift, that little tiny little thing, is in it was in a very precarious little spot on the tree, and even though I was very careful with my number 11 blade to cut it out of there, I got it out in one piece, but there was still a little bit of the sprue left on the part, and as I was trying to gently trim that leftover crud off of there, well, you see the gear shift is in two pieces. So what I ended up doing is going and raiding my wife's sewing desk, and I grabbed a straight pin with a white ball on it. Now I had to drill a hole in that little piece that goes underneath it right here. I had to drill a little hole in that and into the transmission hump there, so I could stick that pin down in there. Now I did add a little bit of glue so it holds this piece in place, and hopefully I got everything tight enough that this shifter will stay in place. And I think that choosing the one with the white ball kind of makes it look right. So I also discovered that the brake pedals, I don't know why I missed this, these go on the bottom of the dash. They don't go to the floor on this, so skip that part. I did choose the foot style accelerator pedal, but when I was painting it, it shot off into Neverland, and I am not going to go searching for it. I will eventually find it, but I'm not going to go searching for it now. It is lost to history for the time being. So this is the interior pretty much complete, and I think it looks pretty good. And it's going to go against that yellow. So hopefully that will look pretty good when I get it all put together. I got to touch up a little bit of the chrome on this piece here because I put my finger on it and it kind of messed it up a little bit. I got a fingerprint there, so got to fix that. But that's not a problem. That'll take like 2 seconds. Alright, so let's park this over here, and we will turn our attention now onto the body, and let's get that finished up. I still have to do the bare metal foil and etc, etc, etc. So here we go. Alright fellas, guess what time it is? It's bare metal foil time. There's quite a bit of foil to do on this car, so let's get started. Welcome to the part 2 final on this 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air Hardtop by Atlantis. This was a very unique build because most modern day kits very rarely come with opening doors and trunk, or boot depending on what part of the world you live in. In my final review of this kit, it is my opinion that although this is a good representation of the 1957 Bel Air, the mold is definitely showing its old age. It has poor fitting parts, and all of that became apparent on final assembly. The frame has a slight twist to it, the doors droop a little bit, and the bumpers, well, let's just say they don't fit well and leave it at that. The windshield doesn't fit, and there are gaps, especially on the driver's side top corner. The rear glass fits nice, and the side glass doesn't reach all the way up, giving a partially rolled down look. And that's cool if that's, you know, the look that you're going for. And I guess it's alright. I would have liked to have that window go all the way up, and I could have probably fixed it so that it did, but I'll just leave it at the way it is. The headlight lenses. Let's talk about the headlight lenses. Now, the ones that came with the kit when I test fitted them in the buckets, they looked really small. They looked kind of too small for the buckets, really. So to fix that issue, I went with my old standby, the press-in gemstones. The exhaust pipes on the rear, as designed, they stick out from the sides of the body, and they looked horrible, in my opinion. I had to heat the pipes with a lighter and bend them slightly so they exited more out of the rear of the car beneath the bumper. So now that I've bashed this kit fairly well, there are a few good things about it too. It's nice that there's a kit being produced that has all of the factory doors that open. It allows for a bit of customization. By that I mean you can add stuff to the trunk and people will see it, like a, oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the camera there. For that I mean, like, you can add a jack or a box of old parts or magazines or anything you want into the trunk, and people will be able to see them when you have the trunk propped open like I do now. You can see into the interior better with the doors propped open, and you can do a little customization on that, and you'll be able to see it better. Now the lift blocks for the rear suspension. Now those lift the rear end just enough that if I had a bigger tire, which I do, you know, you could add that to the car. You know, something like a racing slick or something like that, or if you wanted to lower the car and put a little wider tire on there, I suppose you could do that. These tires are the only option that came with the kit, so I went with those. The wheels, however, came from the 1964 Impala Super Sport that I just recently did a video on. I like those better than the Steelies that came with the kit. Now, some of my viewers had commented about this kit's age in my part 1 video, and I concede that this kit probably has originated sometime during the 1960s. There's no doubt in my mind that that's kind of the time frame that it came from. My sample here had the year 1973 molded into the chassis, and I believe that was probably the last time any update was done to the mold. I've also been asked in previous comment sections and on Facebook how I decide on the color that I'm going to paint my kits. Sometimes I let the muse take over and choose the color that way. Most times I do a Google image search to see which color the car looks best in. You know, you get a plethora of images from a Google image search, and that helps you decide, or that can help you, I should say, on what color you want to paint your car. Because a lot of times you get interior and exterior pictures, and if you're not quite sure on what color something should be, that'll help you out in the long run. Now, in the case for this build, I found a bunch of red and blue and black and green in the search, but I only found 3 that were yellow, and of those 3 that were yellow, there was only 1 that had the gray interior, and I thought that was a good contrast in colors for the build. So I went with the two-tone gray like that car had, and the yellow and white exterior. So, you know, I liked how they looked. Each one of them slightly different from another. All of them had been restored. Well, most of them had been restored in the Google images that I found. And the ones that had been restored, they had a slight twist going on with their restoration. Everything was just a little bit different. especially when you looked at the interior and like under hood pictures. One of them was done in the factory original style, and another one even had a modern day Corvette engine, and every one of them had a different paint scheme. One of them I looked at was all yellow, and they deleted all the chrome, which I thought was kind of plain. You know, when you're talking about a 57 Bel Air, you gotta have the chrome. I'm sorry, just you gotta. Well, this 57 Bel Air is finally done. I hope that you enjoyed this build. If you did, go ahead and click that thumbs up button. You know, it helps my channel grow. It helps the YouTube algorithm recommend my videos to more people, and it, you know, allows them to see my videos and grows my channel. If you have any questions or comments, please write those in the comment section below. You know how to do that. Just scroll down, write what you want to write, hit send. Easy. You know, and I always answer the comment section. Always. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, or you can drop me a line at scaleoutaguy@gmail.com. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and the bell icon so that you'll be informed of all of my latest videos. With that, I want to thank all of my viewers and all of my subscribers for watching my channel. Thanks for watching Scale Out a Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.